bit of echo, I realize, but you'll have to live with it. Like I said, thanks for joining us, my friends, and welcome. Dee, the progress bar thingy is doing the thing, so I guess go for it. Do that thing you do.
What's going on, everybody? This show is for educational and entertainment purposes only. You got to be 21 and over to be here. If not, you have to get out or going by your local laws. Back to you, Fumador.
That's exactly right. Gosh, how sick we are of saying those things, but we have to. My show yesterday got age restricted, so some fucker probably reported it, or I don't know, maybe it got auto flagged. But either way, still the same bullshit. Still, what year is this? Fucking Robin Williams meme, but whatever. Ladies and gerbils, like we said, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Make sure that you are honestly an adult. This show's for adults only. It's not for kiddies, not for children, it's not for adolescents or prepubescents or whatever the fuck you are. Don't. Seriously, go watch something else. Go watch Robin Williams. Go watch Mrs. Doubtfire or some shit. Oh, by the way, do you guys know that kind of in a modern reading of Mrs. Doubtfire, she comes off pretty bad? Like, what was the father? Pierce Brosnan, I want to say, was kind of like doing the normal thing basically of an ex-husband, and Mrs. Doubtfire comes in and basically like surreptitiously scams her way into the family. Kind of fucked up when you look at it in modern eyes. It's kind of funny. Everyone back there was like, "Oh my god, how funny this is!" But yeah, these days you're like, "Oh shit, that's kind of creepy." Anyway, ladies and gerbils, how times change.
It was a drive-by switching gear.
So, folks, I'm going to roll up a joint here. I think I'm going to roll up some apples and bananas. I only have apples and bananas, entry to piss, and very little of both, honestly. I'm going to run out probably, hopefully not tomorrow, but definitely in the next couple, 3 days. So I'll probably have to go to a dispensary before I head back. I'm hopefully going to head back this weekend. Anyway, ladies and gerbils, what are you puffing on in the chat? Please let us know. Say hello in the chat, of course, too. If you guys have never said hello in the chat, feel free to say hello. And of course, the show is a conversational show. You're more than welcome to hop on. Just please ask nicely. That's all. And then, of course, the rules are simple. You do have to abide by those rules. Don't be a dick. Don't show your dick. Don't be a douchebag. Don't come on to start a fight or bring bad vibes. Don't come on to basically start a conflict or start perpetuate a conflict or perpetuate complaints. Don't come on basically to, just basically harsh everybody's freaking vibes. I think that goes without saying. So, folks, you're welcome to hop on, but like I say, don't be a fucking dick. What's going on with you, D?
Not much, just hanging out. Watched a new episode of Deadliest Catch. That was pretty dope. I'm smoking on a couple things. I'm smoking on Mint Kush, and I'm smoking on that other one, Moonbow. Thank you, Mrs. D.
And some free stuff.
And some free stuff. Yeah, that's okay. Not the greatest stuff, but I'm not complaining.
Yes.
Anyways, cheers, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great day. Where's the brain?
Moonbow is a very creamy, kind of runcy flower. I guess it's got a little bit of, well, more than a little bit of gas in the back end with this kind of creamy, I guess they call them. Really pretty yummy, honestly. I had that clone and then I think I just was dumb and killed it. I think I just literally didn't water it or something. It was really a very foolish reason why it died. Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but I do remember it was really foolish. I was really embarrassed with myself. I was like, "Are you serious?" I think it was probably that. I probably just like it was probably the back of the tray, and I just literally didn't water that one. Anyway, it happens if you're not paying attention. So I kept paying attention after that, or I tried to pay attention after that. It still happens every once in a while, but what can you do?
Mm-hmm.
What am I gonna say? Runs itself is what Skittles to gelato. Which one was the father, I wonder? Or did they just basically feminize it? They probably just feminized it. They say that there's a third strain in there too, but I don't know if I believe it. I think the structure and everything, the flavor really is basically that gelato and runs or gelato and Skittles. Skittles too, I guess, is one of the ones that they don't really tell you what it is. It's recently.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You passed me the wrong thing.
What?
Yeah, this stuff's really good. Really good for bedtime too.
I remember the Z. Can't sue us with the Z, bro. All right, what the fuck? Skittles. Yeah. Motherfucking Skittles. Why can't I find you on C Finder? I know you're on there.
Hmm.
I've got all these other watermelon Skittles and shit.
Where do I move that to the top?
Oh, I know I can search.
So somehow I was able to, on my reactions on my YouTube, I just was able to change it to the brain icon. So I can make brains pop up. Oh, fuck off.
Cool.
Wrong button. Don't forget, folks, top chat, live chat. There we go. Now you see little brains. That's me. Cheers, Christoph. Big force, buddy.
Yeah, they're saying, oh, cheers, Christophe. Bonjour. They're saying Skittles is grape ape by grapefruit by an unknown strain. I've always hypothesized what that unknown strain could be. From the structure of it and everything, and it honestly seems accidental to me because the grapefruit and everything really shines through there, but that lanky crappiness of it, it must have just been an accidental pollination of something. And so from that, it's probably, like what do they grow in LA? They grow OG, right? So it's probably some kind of an OG that basically hermed and crossed over this grape ape grapefruit that they had. Yes.
Hmm.
Anyway, come on, folks. I
Yeah.
guess we'll talk for a little bit. If nobody hops on, I definitely have shit to do. So if you guys do want a show, please do hop on.
Come play with us. Come join us, Danny. Come talk with us.
What's the good word, D?
I'm just hanging out, man. Hanging out. We're supposed to have thunderstorms. We're supposed to have thunderstorms here today in Toronto.
Do you have
Sucks.
that kind of typical Midwest weather with the tornadoes and stuff up there?
No, but we do have tornado warnings. We do get a tornado once in a while, but it's not too often. We're lucky, I guess. We just have to worry about snow and ice and cold. Yeah.
You sure live in a perfect place to love warm weather, don't you?
Yes, I do. Oh man. Hope he feels better, Christoph. Christoph says his dad's not in the hospital. It's not good.
Oh man.
Hopefully he gets better soon, buddy. Whoa.
Oh, my God. There we go.
I have to call you the shadow there for a minute.
Well, our best thoughts to your father, Christoph. He does better.
For sure.
He's in the chat. Al and CTC, Moss in the house. What's going on, Moss? He's in here. Crime Mark Rose is hanging. What's going on, buddy?
Let's see if I can bring this up. Well, Christoph is in the chat. I wanted to ask him about something. I gotta find it. There's Mrs. D.
Oh, I'm going to Woody Harrelson's weed club tonight. The Woods, I guess it's called. It's over in West Hollywood.
Really?
Yeah. And
That's cool.
yeah, it should be fun. Let's see.
Hey, when you walk in, is everyone gonna yell, "Fumie"?
That's right. Apparently it's a great place. We'll see. Evidently they have both weed and alcohol. They kind of toe the line. Apparently there is literally a line in the building, and apparently on one side you can get alcohol, and on the other you can have the other. Very convoluted because evidently you can leave your cocktail on one side and then walk to the other. I don't know, whatever. But we'll see how it works. Looks really beautiful. So we'll see.
Well, dude, that's really cool, man.
Yeah,
If you have a chance, take a couple pictures.
right.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, okay.
I'm actually
Um,
watching. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I'm rewatching Cheers right now. I don't know if everyone
Oh, right
remembers
on.
Cheers. And I'm not at that point yet where Woody Harrelson's in it, but I'm
Hmm.
waiting for it. He's a great actor.
Do you know that his dad was a hitman, and it's widely suspected that he and Matthew McConaughey are brothers?
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Apparently, I haven't said for sure, but it's kind of evident that they might assume that they're brothers because apparently they hang out on vacation all the time. I guess
Crazy.
they always hang out with your brother on vacation, but I don't know. You people in the chat that have brothers hang out with your brother on vacation.
I don't.
And then never mind. Maybe they're secret spies. Did we let somebody was trying to get in?
There you go. Oh, it's Jeff.
There we go.
Yeah. DGC. Yeah.
Hey.
Hey, Jeff. That's hot.
Getting ready to smoke.
Dude, I'm gonna
breaking out the grinder. Different
Man, we have-
smokes, yeah. That's good smokes now. It's weird how you just go from like not having much, not having good variety of what you really want. So like all of a sudden you find some good things and yeah, it's like everything's great. Everything comes in all at once. You just want to smoke. You just want to smoke it all while it's fresh.
Yeah.
Good.
Coach was okay operation annihilation. He has his moments.
Good having variety. Yeah, in the old days, it wasn't too much variety, but there was still a few. And yeah, I used to start with some daytime stuff that I'd smoke in a bong or water pipe. That would be like my first hits of the day. And then maybe I'd go smoke that same like sativa, is what we'd call it, and smoke that in a pipe then, because just smoking the same weed from going from a water pipe to a pipe, you'd like, oh, okay, now I feel that. Yeah, that's good. And then at some point switch over to something more heavy hitting. And I don't know, either that'd be a pipe or water pipe, whatever. But yeah, I was back in the one hit days. Like, remember that revolver? The one hit revolver? It was like a 6-hit revolver, one hit. So you
Yes.
fill up, put on the bong, and so
I
you
had-
pass around.
I had a pipe one like that.
Uh-huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah, those are
6-hitter.
good. I was thinking that'd be good for the stores in Bickel. They came out with some new vape device recently where you can like adjust the flow, but some like open and close the flow, it looks like, but I don't know if that's any good. But I used the Mighty, and that's pretty good. You fill up these little capsules, they're like one hits, where you get like I usually do two big drawers on them, maybe three, and then I stop because then it starts getting harsh. But that'd be good if they had some kind of revolver thing. Because you fill them up and you put them in this little holder that's like a revolver. But you have to pull them out and put them into the Mighty one by one. That'd be good if they had some kind of thing, some way to do that.
I still like the old Volcano, the desktop one, even though it's big and lunky. It doesn't
Yeah, I
bum
have
me out.
the plenty's like that. I have one of those. But depending on the strain, sometimes those hits come out like too terpy. Those first few hits, it seems.
Hmm.
Because that thing holds like 1.5 grams. Like the volcano, pretty much the same.
Big old bag. That's what she said.
Yep. Big old bag.
Oh yeah, I was looking for that thing I wanted to ask Christoph about. Forgot. About washing your hands in France.
Was it like they use soap or something? Because wasn't that
Yeah,
about
yeah.
the Chinese? A lot of Chinese like had to be
If
introduced
they
to
eat
soap
frog,
during COVID-19.
Mhm.
I wash my hands in the frog.
Oh no, where did it go? Gone.
Never touch the omelet pan with soap.
Huh.
I'm not a big fan of French omelets. Well, that's probably sacre bleu. But I don't like the fluffy whipped nature of them. I mean, it's not like I'll turn it down. Like I love eggs, so basically, if someone were to offer me a French omelet, I would of course say yes. But if I were to pick my omelet, I would actually prefer a more American style omelet. I actually like the eggs to be scrambled more crudely, basically. So you have essentially still a little bit of runny yolk and kind of flecks of white and yellow. It's very,
Mhm.
very unlike the French omelet, to be honest. French people would probably, oh my God, gasp and fall over dead from a heart attack. Because the French omelet, basically, you whip, 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 and you stir, stir, stir constantly the whole time, flip, 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 flip. So you basically never let it essentially set or burn or anything else until the very, very, very end. When if you fill it up or something, you might let it basically burn a little tiny bit on the sides, but it's essentially still kind of juicy and moist on the inside, but the texture is very cake-like or something. It's very, now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, oh, actually, I still like them, but it's not my favorite. It's not my absolute fucking favorite.
Mhm.
And so much trouble that I would never make it for myself, and I would never really order it in a restaurant because it's like, oh, there's 50 other ways that I would want something.
Mm.
Yeah, remember there was that old woman, it was a long time ago. She was an American woman chef that trained in France.
Oh,
And
Julia Child.
yeah, and she was like, oh, and she was like, you hit the pan. She would like be hitting the handle of the pan with her fist, like, oh, this is how, yeah, and always shaking it, and yeah, never let the pan sit still. And I remember saying that, and have it on a high heat, as I remember. But low heat does seem to be better.
Wonderful.
I usually cook them on a low heat, and yeah, then it doesn't stick, and use a
One
nonstick
cup
pan.
onions on low heat. Ah.
You was a kook.
It actually reminds me that the lady, I don't know if anyone watches Monty Python, but the spam, the waitress in the
Yeah,
Yeah,
background.
yeah,
kid
yeah.
and
They're
very like
imitating Julia Child. Huh?
That reminds me of Julia Child's voice.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, like John Cleese or Phelan.
Your mother was a hamster,
Great
and your
cook though.
father smelled like elderberries.
It's very interesting. There's different philosophies even in cooking. So we talk about all the different ways of growing, and goodness gracious, there are 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 maybe. It's no exaggeration, because every grower puts their little spin on things, especially when they're competent. When they're incompetent, of course, they put their spin on things, but that's generally kind of sort of more accidentally than anything. But when someone is really quite competent, they develop their own style, their own way of doing things, and sometimes those ways are at odds. Julia Childs, as you say, I remember that. Like you always have to keep stuff moving, don't let it stick and whatever else. And you can always deglaze at the end of it because it's French cooking, so you always deglaze and make a gravy or a sauce at the end anyway. But it was just kind of a philosophy, I guess. I don't. It's been a long time since I watched the show, so I couldn't really speak to why exactly she did it. But for example, I've mentioned this famous English chef, Marco Pierre White, who has a different philosophy actually, whereby he actually says that the temperature should be ideal for whatever you're trying to accomplish, and you should basically neither move the pan nor the food in the pan. You should move the heat basically to the pan. So, for example, if you have one of those, he has one of those fancy French stoves that has like a burner in the middle and whatever, so you can move it closer and further away. Japanese stoves do the same. But if you literally have a gas stove, you just turn it up, turn it down, shit like that. And who's to say one is right and one is wrong? Honestly, it's very much just a different style. So there's plenty of people still to this day that flip everything and move it all the time and da 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 da. But Marco Pierre White, who's one of the best chefs in the world, says move the heat, not the food. That's kind of an interesting paradigm. You know, how it makes me wonder what is the analog in growing. You know, we used to have, in personality, honestly, Coot was very much a little bit like Marco Pierre. Well, that's not true. Marco Pierre White doesn't seem to have like a chip on his shoulder. He's more just a little bit arrogant, but still a little bit of a curmudgeonly kind of vibe, right? Both of them are a little bit like that, and very kind of a. In the end, I don't think either one tries to be, but they're a little bit school marmy. You know, they sort of teach you a little bit over your head every single time they talk. What was I going to say? Oh, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm like lost in this very amusing metaphor of Coot as a world famous English chef.
Yeah, how cooking relates to growing.
What's that?
How it relates to growing, cooking and growing. You have to break the rules sometimes.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the analog. Yeah, Jeff, thanks for rescuing it. I'm wondering what the analog basically between that kind of. I mean, it sounds like a little thing, but it's a big difference in philosophy, right? Like it's a big difference in how they approach the kitchen, how they sort of manage their entire process, right?
Yeah,
I wonder what that is. Watering, maybe.
Yeah, don't move the pan, move the heat. Yeah, it is kind of a. What perspective do you use? I stopped shaking and moving the pan when it switched over to like glass or induction heating cooking.
Oh, really?
You know, you don't want to scratch those. Somebody said, "Oh, stop! Don't do that." No. Yeah, it makes sense. When I got a new one, especially. I was like, okay,
supposedly the newest ones. I don't have one of the newest ones, but supposedly one of the newest ones, or the newest ones, the induction stovetops don't scratch. I don't know.
Oh, cool.
I'm with you. I'm like, dude, all it takes is one time or whatever. You scratch it up, and it just like oil gets in there, and you could never really get it out again. That's fucked up.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, get like a shellac on there, but that a razor blade that works well. But I don't have the induction. We have like the heater element, whatever it's in there, but it's a solid glass top. And yeah, like there's one induction, but the other ones are just the old heaters in there. But those are scratched too. But yeah, that's when I stopped it.
I miss my old stove. I know that for sure. You remember the old stove with the coil?
Yeah.
Easier to heat up knives that way.
No, I'm so angry. Not too long ago, I replaced one of those. Basically, I had this, and it was like kind of fugly. It was like 1970s. Basically, it was
nice.
Hot Point, I want to say. Anyway, it had those electric coils. The fucking thing is literally still works basically to this day. Well, whatever. I don't want to get into details, but apparently nobody likes the old fugly stoves, so I fucking replaced that one. I'm so angry. Like I know that the new stove will break down in like 13 months, basically right outside the warranty. You know.
Yep. Day after.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
Hopefully not my problem. What was I going to say? I kind of like the glass tops. I was really skeptical at first, and I assumed that it would be, breakable and all kinds of stuff. So what, like 15 years ago or something, we bought one of those glass top with a Maytag, and unfortunately the stove started to go to garbage for a variety of other reasons, like literally just low build quality. The thermostat in the oven was basically trash, essentially out of the box, but it got worse and worse over time to the point that you just had to guess what the temperature might be at some point. Literally, like it could be high, it could be low. It was super fucking garbage. So you had to constantly check everything. The tops too, they did the same thing. Basically, one of the tops defaulted to full blast, and it was the one that was like the full energy top. So basically, like it was full blast of the full big circle. Oh my fucking god! And then the other front top basically was one of the. It was like, so the, I think the right one was a big one circle thing, so it only has the one dial. And then the left one was a big one that had three settings basically. So you could do the smallest one, the middle one, and the bigger one. People have probably seen what I'm talking about. The biggest and the middle were broken. They probably shared a thermostat and were broken again, also to default to high. And the lowest one was still working, but literally it was only the smallest one. What a fucking garbage stove that thing was. It probably had 5 other problems that I don't remember now. But anyway, of course, out of warranty. So, and then of course the repair is more expensive than a new stove. So they always calculate it that way. So if the stove costs $1,000, oh, conveniently the repair is $1,100.
It's crazy how expensive some
Yeah,
things are with stoves.
it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous, and it used to
I
be.
was
It's
shocked.
really frustrating because it used to be when you'd buy an appliance. I remember this. This is not in the before time, right? This is not in the mists of fucking. This is not Pliny the Elder didn't write about this shit in Roman times. This is literally like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. You could buy a refrigerator or an appliance or whatever, and it would last, and it would actually still last to this day. And now you buy literally anything, and it falls apart. Essentially, basically right after the warranty. They basically time it. They have probably engineers. They probably have material scientists that figure out how thin the sheet metal can be before it fails in exactly 12 months and 1 day. Oh my fucking god. Who am I saying probably? Like, of course they have engineers that they literally hire material scientists to skimp on metal instead of improve the quality of their machines. It's really something else. We're in the enshittification phase. What's going on, hardcore? Oh,
Yeah,
speaking of
hardcore.
enshittification.
Huh.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, I can't find it.
What's that, hardcore?
I'm doing fine. Am I roboting here? Or is it?
A little bit, I think.
Sounds okay here.
Yeah, it sounds okay. I think you were
I think
muted,
maybe at the very beginning, I'm trying to say something. I think I just realized what your logo kind of reminds me of, and I don't know why, but it reminds me of the coloration on a squid. Oh shit! It's lost. Damn it. Hopefully it'll come back. Like I said earlier, folks, hop on. This is a show for conversational purposes. It's not meant to be a panel from upon high. It's supposed to be basically a panel of all of you guys, honestly. So hop on, share your perspective, come tell us about where you're growing. It's already goodness gracious, it's already high time, frankly, for the speaking of high noon. It's high time for the growing season. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you probably better be in the ground already. If you're not, I'm very frustrated because I think a friend that was supposed to take a couple of plants from my a place up in Portland has not yet taken them, and I just realized like, oh, I keep trying to get on this guy, like, take your plants, you got to give them to the ground. Bet you anything, they're still not in the ground yet. Their check. Anyway, a couple of nice plants too. What am I giving him? He passionately loves sour diesel. So I basically picked up Amherst sour diesel a few months ago now, I guess. I can't even remember how long ago, 3-4 months ago probably, but I haven't had a chance to test it yet. So what better way to test it than with this guy? If he loves it, he's going to really enjoy the absolute hell out of it. Or rather, if it's good, he's going to enjoy the hell out of it because it's apparently his #1 strain of all time. Or he'll discover that he's changed. That will be an interesting discovery for him. Probably a sadder discovery than I'm making it out to be. But if people change over time, chemically and psychologically and otherwise, maybe he, because I think he was talking about how, when he was in college many years ago, well, that was probably 15, 20 years ago. He may be a very different person now. So maybe he doesn't like sour diesel anymore, but it'll be really interesting. I'll be happy to help him puff that plant because I quite like sour diesel. What else did I give him? Ice cream cake. I also gave him ice cream cake, so he's gonna have a nice greasy as fuck, purpling, pretty stony, not super duper stony, but pretty stony, sort of indica heavy monster. I'd say like indica leaning, definitely. I don't know. I guess that's debatable. What about you guys? You guys smoked ice cream cake, Jeff, or hardcore?
I love ice cream cake.
You and you like really stony stuff, Hunty.
Yeah, man. Stonier the better, man.
Yeah, I like it if it's done right.
I never had that one specifically, but like the cookies and creams types, they're good.
I've
Speaking
never
of
tried.
fucking ice cream, go ahead, E.
I was just saying I never had cookies and cream before. Right, so go ahead, Pew.
Yeah, I agree with
Cookies.
that. That was good.
Changing the subject for a second on myself. Cookies and cream, I think, when I think about it, honestly, is my absolute favorite cookies adjacent cross. So anything that cookies is like bred into, that includes like blueberry cookies. People really love blueberry cookies. Is really really flavorful, but it's sort of larfy a little bit. It doesn't really grow that. It's definitely not as dense as that cookies and cream. Doesn't punch as hard as the cookies and cream. I haven't pressed it, but I bet you $1 million that it doesn't press as well as cookies and cream. It doesn't wash. I can pretty much guarantee that it doesn't wash as well as cookies and cream. So you're just not going to get as much hash off of it as cookies and cream. And then it's like the cookies and cream just has this really, really nice balanced spiciness. It's very heavy on the caryophyllene, very heavy on the like cloves and a little bit of pepper, just a little bit of pepper, not too much. Most people don't like a lot of pepper in their weed, and even cloves. You don't want it to go too much because then it'll start to taste like licorice. I like licorice. A lot of people really can't stand black licorice. There are some people who are allergic to black licorice, so that triggers something in them. You don't want to include too much if you don't have to. Basically, it's a dangerous terpene to overdo in cannabis. I mean, dangerous is not going to kill you. It's just basically people are not going to like it. What was I trying to say? No, that cookies and cream is fucking spectacular. It's from Exotic. I think that's probably my favorite thing of his that I've ever smoked. Well, Grease Monkey is pretty spectacular, but between the two of them, I would go back to cookies and cream. Honestly, that is just really delightful. And from what I understand, one day long ago, I talked to the guy, and he was at Exotic. At the last, that's how long it was, at the last Indo Expo, I want to say in fucking Colorado. And he was like, "Oh, I'll come on your show." And then the pandemic happened and I never had him on the show and stuff. And I'm sure he doesn't remember who I am now. But anyway, one day I'd like to have Exotic on the show. No fucking joke. It'd be fun to have him on the show. He's a really nice guy, actually. Anyway, what was I trying to say? I was talking about the cookies and cream. Oh, my understanding is, I guess I would love to ask him about it, but my understanding is that he, like many breeders, like Bud Kilowatt was talking about Coma the Grower, he famously had this, basically, what do they call them? Cookies nuggets or some shit. I can't remember the name. Basically, bag seed cookies. So essentially like cookies packs in the Bay Area that were grown fairly poorly and had seeds in them. And basically that was the way that the cookies cuts basically got out to the world at the very beginning, because the cookies family were not handing out cuts. They knew that it was special. So a bunch of different breeders basically got a hold of bag seed cookies just basically by buying packs in the Bay Area. And my understanding is that's how Exotic got his, and then grew out a few phenotypes, and that was the mom of the whole line. Anyway, if that's the case, more power to him, because he did a great job. Why pay anybody for something you can get for free? What the fuck?
It says, yeah, maybe it says mother was Mystery Cookies, father was Starfighter
yep,
F2.
yep.
This was
That's the thing,
Generation
mystery
F3.
cookies. And so basically it's I forget what they called them. There was an expression for them, basically the seeds that came for the from the seeded cookies packs, basically. Oh fuck, I don't remember, it doesn't matter. Anyway. I shouldn't laugh so hard, but I mean, like, for people who have so much shadiness behind their backstory, and who have gotten such a rocket ship to the sky, I'm like, dude, you don't have to hold back. You know, like, first of all, they won't notice, and second of all, like, I don't know, there's a lot of weirdness there. Like, I don't know, I think it's fair to look askance. Maybe they're all nice people, so I'm not going to talk shit about them necessarily, but I think it's fair to, I don't know, use their seeded packs. I think that's all fair.
What's everybody in chat smoking on? I'm smoking on free shit right now.
I'm thinking about it as I said that. I was like, oh, such conflicting opinions in cannabis, such animosity too over those conflicting opinions. I'm like, huh, what I just said is probably very controversial to some people. That, hey, you know, I don't think it was a big deal that a number of breeders got seeded cookies packs and then grew out those bag seeds basically. It's not like they stole the bag seeds; they paid for the weed. And then basically grew out the bag seeds. Arguably, the weed was ruined, basically, that they paid for, but you know, maybe they were intentionally buying it because they knew it'd be seeded. And then literally just pheno hunted those seeds. That's how weed is done. But goodness gracious, I remember how absolutely livid Coot apparently got at the idea that we would basically grow his seeds. It's kind of bizarre when I look back on it. He gave me and he gave a bunch of other people seeds, and then when we grew them, he started to get really offended that we actually like wanted to work with them. I don't know. He was even somehow offended that we even grew them. I feel like perhaps I'm mistaken on that, but gosh, he was definitely offended that anybody was working with his shit, and certainly he was not the only one. And then again, there's different, you know, people have pissed me off. I remember the first time that I sent out testers, a bunch of guys, before even giving me any results, before giving me any feedback, pictures, or anything, already bred my shit to something else. I was like, wait, what? That's not how this is supposed to work. Did you just think that was a freebie? Well, yeah, they basically thought it was a freebie, and then they just essentially ran with it. And I realized at the time, I was like, shit, you know, I guess I didn't specify, you know, I can't really be that mad because it's not like I told them they're not allowed. If I had told them that and they broke the rules, then I guess I could have been mad. But I was like, shit, all's fair in game, in love and war, or whatever, right? I didn't tell them shit. It did offend me, though. I remember it did annoy me. It doesn't, on the other hand, annoy me. For example, I've sent Christoph seeds. It doesn't annoy me at all that he runs my stuff with amnesia and all this different stuff. I'm like, shit, that's what those seeds are for. So I guess there's very different. Even the individual breeder can have very conflicting opinions as they look at the path their seed takes, paths their seeds take. Fuck, I'm a little bit high on this apples and bananas.
Nice. I have to get some of that.
Doesn't feel so thumpingly high, but I'm like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. What's the chat up to here? Looks like no North Star today. We may have just forgotten. What's going on, J5?
Or 25.
Amherst Sours from Humboldt Seed Org, says J5. I have to be honest, I really, really enjoyed all the stuff I used to test for Humboldt Seed Org. And then I basically stopped. I started testing for Subcool and stopped testing for them. And in retrospect, especially thanks to what happened to Subcool, I might have kept up, you know, maybe not what's the word, not I would have still tested for subcool because I think that was a really rewarding experience. But I probably should have still kept up with HSO because everything that they ever sent me, not without its problems, there were definitely some herm-prone plants. So I've heard some complaints whenever Humboldt Seed, or maybe not as much now because I think there's so much in Europe now that I don't hear people talk about them too much anymore. A couple of their breeders are still here stateside, but I think mostly the business is overseas. Anyway, regardless, literally from fly trap to I got a freebie. It was literally Cali Sour OG crossed to Pre 98 Bubba. It wasn't a freebie, but I think I paid literally $5. It was like a $5 monthly seed of the month or some shit. And it got terrible germination, but I think I got 2 seeds to germ, and one of them was spectacular.
Nice.
What else? Like I say,
$398.
I've grown. Oh, the Platinum Yeti. Talked about that Platinum Yeti, I don't know, 100 fucking times. Still to this day, the Platinum Yeti #5 is one of my favorite plants that I've ever grown. That thing was fucking spectacular. It tasted like breakfast pancake butter and sausages, basically. And it smelled, there was a little bit of shit in the beginning, a little bit of poo, but as soon as you got past the poo, deeply gassy breakfast sausages and that, like the butter, specifically the butter from the pancakes. It was really, really unique. Really, really thumpingly good high. It was spectacular, actually spectacular. And her sister was basically as good, but you know, how do you compare like shit? I don't even know. How do you compare like a fucking perfect 11 to a perfect 10? You know, I don't know how to explain it otherwise. Like the #6, they even grew together. Basically, it was #5 and #6, since I just numbered them like that. The #6 was very different. Had a profoundly cinnamon flavor, which is to this day very unique. I've never really had anything that distinctly cinnamon. I've had things that have cinnamon in them, horchata and a few other things that basically are really cinnamony. But this was like fucking breaking off a hunk of cinnamon basically and chewing on it in a good way. It wasn't overwhelming. And it was lavendery, like lavender, very to this day actually a very unique color. The leaves were basically green and wouldn't like fall color, but they would fade out. They would crisp. Now I'm forgetting. They wouldn't really turn black. The #5, the leaves would turn jet black, jet fucking black. It was such a wild look. The buds were basically yellow and silvery. So unique. Like even with that breakfast pancake butter, like the buds would look yellow, not ruined or anything else. It was very unique. That's one of the very rare types of fresh trichome heads. You don't see it very often. The yellow, the red, the pink, and the yellow. You really don't see that often. Anyway,
I
yellow
had purple ones in
bud
my,
meat. What's that? What's that,
I
hardcore?
had purple ones in I had purple ones in my blueberry muffins last year.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
I was gonna say when I was in 5th grade, we used to make soaked toothpicks in like cinnamon oil or peppermint oil. We'd soak them like overnight, and then people would sell them at school for like 25 cents a piece. That was the hustle. Sorry if I
Anyway,
made you lose track of
I
it.
guess I don't have to talk exclusively about Humboldt Seed Org, but I had really good luck with all their seeds actually. So I'm sort of disappointed in myself that I sort of lost contact with them and everything else. I'm curious what they're up to these days. Go ahead.
Have you ever grown the blueberry muffin?
That's Humboldt Seed Company. Go
Okay,
figure.
I thought
It's 2 different companies. There's conflicting reports whether or not they're cool with each other with the names. I've heard some of the time that they're fine with each other basically having the same name, and I've heard other people say no, there's a little bit of animosity, but that's not really my problem to judge.
kind of like
That's from
Boneyard
Nat.
Seeds and
That's
Boneyard
from,
NorCal.
oh shit, I thought that was the same thing. I thought they were made. Now I understand why Tony does the Boneyard NorCal
Uh-huh.
thing. Okay, so I didn't know that there were 2 different Boneyard Seeds. Well, yes, probably exactly. Anyway, Humboldt Seed Company is still in I don't remember exactly where he is. but he's in Northern California, and Humboldt Seed Org is over in Vienna, Austria. Go figure. But they used to be in what, Santa Rosa, I want to say. They had some problems too. The company, I think, almost fell apart. They had problems with the partnership. Basically, their longtime seed rep, show rep, photographer Ivan, and they had a falling out. I didn't have any kind of privileged place, so I don't know why. But anyway, they had some problems. Actually, right around the same time that Subcool basically was sort of spiraling. That's too bad. That was a long time ago. Anyway. What time is it? Well, about another half hour or so, ladies and gentlemen. We could cut it a little bit earlier if nobody else hops on. But if you would like to hop on, folks, let's consider this maybe a last call. Cheers, Mansplainer. Good to see you. Saying Buffalo live diamonds right now. Operation Annihilation. Good to see you as well. Let's see here. Oh, Cranmore smoking purple starburst. It's worth relighting. Check the borderline. Lebowski would relight this, but I don't know if I'm gonna. It's too bad. Who else in here? Oh, Mr. Scott is in the house, puffing on blueberry pancakes and gaffer's tape here. How's gaffer's tape there, Mr. Scott? Hope to hear that it's good.
If I recall, that would be Gorilla Glue number 4 crossed with hang on now. Oh shit. Coots. Oh, what is it? Okay, finish it off for me. I forget.
Hi, Carola.
Coot Special. The Coot Special number 3 specifically, but Coot Special.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
The reason why I call them different, I don't have either plant anymore, so it's not gonna repeat. But the number 3 was very much more Thai leaning, and the number 1 was very much more Kerala leaning. Of course, that's debatable because I haven't. First of all, I haven't ever grown a direct, actual, honest to God, nothing else Thai. No, I've never grown an unhybridized Thai, and I've definitely never grown an unhybridized Kerala. So I had to basically use sort of process of deduction, but we'll just call it basically process of deduction because they leaned very different ways. The number 1 was very much more like a medieval mace, I want to call them, or maybe that's not actually the right name, a flail. The spiky thing that looks like a corn cob with a shitload of spikes on it that you just whack onto people, basically. That it kind of looked like that. It was this sort of spear with all these like little, spikes, basically. Whereas the number 3 was kind of that conventional Thai that's sort of cascading with the big old fucking leaves. Anyway. Anyway, that was the difference. The number 2 was different too. The number 2, I technically had 4 of the Coot Special males, but I only used 2 of them. The number 2 was different. I think the number 2 was squatter, and I didn't like it because it was so squat. Of course, that's debatable because some people actually really love nice squat progeny. So if you're growing, Bud Kilowatt was talking, if you're growing under, let's say LEDs, if you're growing in a vertical environment where you have multiple stacks, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 stacks, because some of these vertical places have 3 or maybe even more stacks of LEDs. God, what a horror show to grow in a place like that. You just constantly have to go on those lifts, basically, and then use probably the slide out trays, basically, so you can actually work on the trays, and God help you if you fall off on the 4th level of the I guess you must have to be tied down or whatever. Fuck's sake, though, what an inhuman place to grow. I'm just visualizing one of those vertical grows with 4 tiers of shit. Anyway, but if you wanted to grow in a place like that, you definitely want things that don't stretch. You want something squatter. Well, I don't grow that way. I don't really think most of my clients or my customers grow that way, or my friends. shit, even, you know, for example, Bud Kilowatt, who grows, you know, basically commercially, doesn't grow that way, on and on and on. So I didn't really find any value in a squat male like that. And the number 4, I don't remember why I didn't like him, but anyway, in case anybody was wondering what the difference of those 4 males were, nobody else is talking. What do you got there, Hardcore? More fine porcelain?
Well, I'm going through my pottery, and for my next sale, I'm kind of and I'm documenting a lot of them that I don't have identified or just documented. And surprisingly, apparently Zoom, you can use your camera at the same time as Zoom. So
That's cool. Zoom has come a long way, I have to be honest.
How much you like this one better, Zoom better than StreamYard, that's for sure.
It's unfortunate because StreamYards has so many more. Streamlabs, whichever one, I don't really care, has a lot more functionality that I would like to start taking advantage of. But Zoom is so much easier. You know, it's so easy for people to hop on here. Zoom has its own kind of content mediation policies, just in case anybody does fucking mess around with you. What was I trying to say? Oh, it's overall so much easier. You can just literally send a link and boom, people pop on. It's a little bit more difficult with Streamlabs. Even though you can still send a link, they get this pop-up thing where they have all these options and people are like, oh my God, you know, like people like Bud Kilowatt, that's not going to happen. So,
My phone just
because I would love to start being able to use, I have a couple of nice cameras I could use as full HD cameras. I would love to broadcast an HD signal. I know that that would help the channel. Actually, that's one of the reasons why my channel is sort of bottlenecked, is that we basically don't actually broadcast in HD. We broadcast in 720, which is essentially, I mean, they used to call it True HD or whatever, but YouTube doesn't call it HD anymore. They call it just standard definition. So essentially they ding me basically for that. It would be nice to basically bump that up, but I would have to start using Streamlabs or something. Zoom has an option, but I don't remember. It's like $100 a month or some shit. It's like, no, I'm not gonna pay that. That's donkey money.
I was just looking. So there is a free Zoom that you can set up your own meeting for free. It looks like the only limitation is 40 minutes and like 100 people limit, but you know, that's pretty cool.
For Zoom, you can do an HD meeting?
A free meeting. You could set up a free meeting with you just sign up for free, and it says you can start your own meetings.
Oh.
So it can only go for 40 minutes though and have 100 people, but yeah,
I don't think you can broadcast though either.
That's okay. No, I was thinking my family was going to get together. We tried to do this, but yeah, there's a bunch of old people and yeah, they're not savvy. And like you said, it's got to be something they can just click on, and you know, like some people didn't have FaceTime, so that, you know,
if you want it to work
easy.
properly, I hate to say it, you should probably just do the paid Zoom for a month. You can always just discontinue basically right after that. You have to remember that Zoom actually doesn't provide you customer service until you start spending like $50 a month or something, but they give you like, what is it? You can email customer support and then they email back to you. It takes a couple of days, but you can still solve the problem. They're actually efficient at doing it, but yeah, no, it's really a messed up situation, but they will solve your problem. Like I've had a couple of big problems with them. One time they were double billing me basically. I was paying for D's Zoom and my Zoom like long after I thought it had already been canceled. And so I was like, oh, can you possibly give me a refund for actually several months of it? And they looked into it, blah, 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 blah. They're like, oh yeah, no problem. Da, da, da. We can see that you were not using the dual content or whatever the fuck. Anyway, it wasn't
That's pretty good.
like live customer service, which was frustrating, I suppose, but it only took like 2.5, 3 days, something like that. So I was actually really pleasantly surprised.
Did you try the free version? Does the free version, did you try it? Does it?
I
is it
did.
not very
Well,
good?
I guess now that you mention it, I haven't really tried it since the very beginning of this channel, basically, which was basically before the pandemic. So at that time,
It's a good idea though. Yeah, I'll try it though before the real
it's
thing.
only
But
it's
yeah,
only $15. I would say if you want the meeting to work and it's with a bunch of old people you're not going to see again or something, I would just pay the $15 and then discontinue right after, honestly.
yeah, man, I'll try that.
You'll have your own meeting room number that will be private because I think that, well, at least it used to be once upon a time. The free account, you didn't have a private room. It was, or you didn't have you had a public room rather. It was password
So it mentions
protected, but it was a public room. So I don't know exactly how that would work exactly, but
it mentions Google Meet. I don't know what that is. Google Meet.
some reason
It's
Google doesn't like me.
well, Google used to have a great version of this that was basically Hangouts, but they shut it down. So I don't know. Maybe Meets is the new version of it.
maybe, yeah.
Gosh, Google is a disappointing company. I've been with them literally for 20 something years. Like I was with, I've had a Gmail since the very beginning. I was with YouTube since before they were with Google, on and on and on. And
Have you had to re-up
them
your Google
provide
storage?
like this, what's that, D?
Have you ran out of Google storage yet?
Uh, no, because I pay for the lowest tier, which annoys me because I'm like, why am I fucking paying for this goddamn old ass emails?
Once
But
you run out,
I'm
they make you do it
paying
every
for
month.
20-year-old emails. What's that? What's that, hardcore?
Once you run out, they make you do it. They make you redo it every month. Because like I've had Gmail since fucking 2000. And yeah, my email, they kept telling me for 6 months or a year that my email was about to be full and that I had to fucking pay. And finally one day, just all of a sudden they quit. I didn't get new emails anymore. And my Google photos went back up, my photos and Drive and all that shit. And so I went and I paid like $9 for like the fucking like 2 terabytes or something ridiculous, you know. And then I had all my accesses back, and then like a month later, all of a sudden, bam, my shit isn't back it up again. It's like what? Then I had to pay it again. The second time I just paid like $1.99 though. Not to piss a guy off. Go back
It's
to Hotmail.
honestly one of the most relieving things to have photos and stuff in the cloud. Because take it from me, I've had all these different drive failures over the last year and a half on really high-end drives, actually, too. The one SanDisk Professional or whatever, it's a G drive, basically. I think they've changed the name on the line, but it's like you'll see it basically on any photographer or graphic designer, whoever the fuck's desk, some creative that does it for a living. It's a pretty expensive drive. Fucking thing went corrupted basically, and to this day I still don't have all my photos rearranged. It's super messed up, honestly, because it was such the recovery file on that gigantic drive was so big that I had to split it up in multiple drives and da 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 da. And I've had all this hectic time in my life that I honestly haven't had a chance to, like, pardon me, find some other committed. Here's Backblaze is giving me my goddamn warning again because my fucking computer's still missing because I still don't have my Backblaze set up. Anyway, it's such a relief to have like iCloud photos backed up. Oh my fucking god, it's delightful because I think people don't realize how important photos and things are until they lose them. Like photos of your old dog and whatever. Like, fuck, they're gone. What? Oh, that's tragic.
You know, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What's that, hardcore?
Well, say me and my ex-girlfriend used to have a whole lot of fucking videos together, but I can't find them.
That's different.
Like,
Darkly lit videos. That's different.
I think they delete porn automatically on those backup sites.
Oh, do they?
Uh-oh. Cornhub. You'll see hardcore up on a Cornhub now. Right,
They
keywords.
might with the Euler, which no one reads. You don't know what they're really doing with them. They're probably at least gonna start using them or already using them with AI training. in some like unidentifiable way. They probably already can do that easily, I'm sure. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they can even just, keep them and say they were your, keep all the information about them. Who
They
knows?
own. You signed that TNA when you signed that.
Yeah, it's weird how that's,
TO.
well, the EULA, the end user license agreement thing that no one reads, where, if you want to do this, click yes. There's nothing else. Like, imagine like they were going to sell something to you and you were like, okay, yeah, thanks. Here, can you sign this? I'm not going to buy this unless you sign this. All of a sudden, that didn't used to be a thing. Somebody that's trying to sell you something could do that. Like, oh, here, beyond like the normal laws, here's like some agreement we have. And it's really long and legally, so no one reads it. And if eventually, everyone got into the habit of just clicking. If you want it, you have to click. Click yes, accept.
You might click on it.
You must accept. There was the funny South Park. Yeah, it was South Park about you signed you signed the EULA, and it was like something like Apple owns you now.
Oh God, yeah, I know that
You remember that
episode.
one? And they like sewed people. I forget the whole thing, but some of they sewed people together.
Human Centipede.
I don't know. It was like Apple wanted to do some experimenting. I got an idea. We can use our users. They signed the EULA. They have to allow
Yeah.
us to do this to them.
Binding arbitration by whipping. So listen to this. Mr. Scotto says Gaffer's tape is hard hitting, high yielding, and strong terps. He says hard to explain, but interestingly good flavor. Interestingly good flavor. Could be wonderful, could be not. No, it sounds good. Cheers, Gaffer. Cheers, Mr. Scotto. I hope to smoke some soon when I get back with you. Hopefully I'll be
Y'all
able
didn't
to
sign up for the human centipede.
a little bit. What's that? What's that hardcore?
I said y'all didn't sign up for the.
You didn't sign up for what?
No, I didn't.
You said a human centipede, but yeah, you're breaking up.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm next to a whole bunch of fucking steel building storage.
That was
What are you,
funny.
Magneto?
Oh, that my Tor or my fucking VPN going to keep wanting to kick on, but
Could still be crowds strike.
Iron Man, the weed version of Iron Man.
Copperman.
That's me.
So, CalMag man.
Oh, Calmag.
For every time that they say it needs more CalMag, I am there.
Oh, Calmag.
Any rat rotters want to buy my steel wheels off me? Look at all this
What's that
shit I got.
hardcore? Fucking shit, it's hard to understand you. What did you say?
Any rat rotters want to buy a bunch of steel wheels?
God damn it, I was just looking for 10 of them. Shit. Didn't think it'd be that easy. Trying to build a chariot, like a centipede chariot with steel wheels. Oh shit, I went to La Brea Tar Pits here in LA. A lot of people probably don't know what the fuck that is, but Los Angeles basically has always had, since prehistoric times, since way back when, in the last ice ages, and it's apparently in the folk tales of all the different Native Americans for thousands of years, they've had these tar pits basically. Oh shit, we just lost hardcore. We'll probably bounce here in a few minutes. So anyway, these native tar pits, and some of them, they look like an open friggin' black thing of tar and whatever else, but some of them are really deceptive. They basically are essentially quicksand, and especially when some leaves fall over them and stuff. You can really imagine why so many animals would fall into these fucking things and basically get trapped in the tar, because the tar, you can't get out. You'll never get out. It's thickly viscous oil. Imagine basically falling into a tub of molasses. Impossible. And so they had these pits basically that would have literally hundreds of saber-toothed tigers, hundreds of what else? Giant ground sloths, wolves. I mean, you name it. All these different animals that basically fell into these fucking tar pits and got preserved basically as a result, got essentially fossilized as a result. So the La Brea Tar Pit and Associated Museum and stuff, I guess, have the largest collection of fossils, I think, individual fossils in the world. Go figure, just based on how many fucking mammoths and stuff fell into these goddamn tar pits. Saber-toothed tigers, I think I just said. Anyway, or maybe I didn't say, but saber-toothed tigers. They have horses too. They had, because horses evolved in North America. Actually, horses and camels both evolved in North America, and both went extinct in North America. Go figure. And one of the reasons why horses did so well when the Spanish brought them back, because predominantly I think it was the Spanish that brought them back, and the Native Americans basically took them and gleefully ran with them. It's always been an interesting paradox, because they didn't have that as part of the culture. They didn't have horse riding as part of the culture, but they took to it like a horse takes to fucking, or like a duck to water, right? And horses took to North America like a duck takes to water, because they fucking evolved here in an amazing coincidence of life. So they were perfectly suited basically for the climate. So what was I trying to say? Oh, I was trying to say the horse heads. Horses that were fossilized in the tar pits, their heads were physically so much smaller than a modern day horse. And you forget sometimes, you go to different museums and you'll see like chariot armor, or you'll see like a whole ass chariot, like the Getty Museum, I think, has, I don't remember if they were showing it this last time I was there, but they have like a whole ass Roman chariot. Maybe the Getty Villa, I think, has it. And the armor for the horse is surprisingly small. And you're like, wait, why is the horse so? It's like for like not even a donkey, honestly. It's like for like a pony. And then you remember, oh shit, just like with corn or watermelons or cantaloupe or any motherfucking thing, dogs, horses have been domesticated and bred by humans for thousands of years. They're one of the most domesticated animals because they're one of the most useful animals, basically, right? You can ride them, you can use them as beasts of burden. Kind of like your mama, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, nice. Anyway, what was I trying to say? They say that horses, a couple thousand years ago, in Roman times, the Romans and the Etruscans before them, and maybe even the Greeks before them, had put in enough work on the horses that they could actually ride them. So basically, you could have Roman. I'm gonna mute hardcore because I think he's in some wind. How do I mute hardcore with this?
Yeah, I got traffic next to me here.
Oh, right on. If you could just mute yourself, that's easier. Fuck was I trying to say? I was talking about Romans. So the Roman centurions, they would not centurion. Well, whatever. The centurion, let's say Roman soldiers, they could ride horses, right? Famously, there's even stories in the Bible and whatever else about Romans on the horses, right? Well, the horses at that time were big enough that a grown ass man could ride the horse. And people said, no, people were tiny back then. Not everybody. There were plenty of tall people back then. On average, people were smaller, but you still had, like, Charlemagne was like 6'5" and whatever. Like 1,200 years ago, the dude was 6'5". They had lots of tall people back then. Well, not even, I think they say basically in like ancient Greek times, like 500 years before that, or in like Egyptian times, horses were not big enough to ride, and so they would have chariots. Basically, they would have, for example, chariot racing, and chariot racing carried over into Roman times. It was actually more popular than the gladiator games. And they say to this day, the most highly paid athlete in all of history by far, although it probably won't be for that much longer, was this Roman charioteer. He basically was a chariot rider that basically earned something like $2 billion in his career. Well, like I say, LeBron is probably over $1 billion already. Michael Jordan is over $1 billion already. So maybe we're not that far from outpacing that Roman charioteer, but it's all actually kind of funny. And again, the chariot racing was so popular because for 500 or 600 years, or maybe more, since Egyptian times, the horses were big enough to pull a chariot. A couple of horses, for example, could pull a chariot and a man in that chariot, and they could do that for war or racing or just goofing off, but they weren't big enough to ride. But then already 500 years later, they were big enough to ride. And then all of a sudden, 500, 1,000 years later, the Mongol horses were big enough and strong enough that they could ride all the way across Asia and conquer basically Europe and Russia and all this shit. It's interesting when you think about it. And now modern horses have these gigantic heads because we bred them to be big enough to carry 300-pound fat ass tourists and stuff, right? Anyway. Tiny little horses back then, big horses now. That was the whole point. Hopefully we get lost. Who's in the chat here? Oh, we're getting there. Almost time to cut out.
Yeah, I always heard the Mongols horses weren't huge. They weren't, but they were strong. But that's what you wanted too when you were going to be traveling long distance. You didn't want to have to feed a huge animal. You wanted one just big enough. That's what I heard.
Mm.
But they were horsemen.
You guys ever hear of beef tartare?
Ew.
Basically, in the West, we serve it as essentially ground beef. It's supposed to be freshly ground beef, but of course, I guess your experience may vary. But it's supposed to be a freshly ground steak, basically, which is, by the way, safe to eat raw. I think a lot of people have a misconception about beef and stuff. The primary danger with beef, most of the time, obviously there's always exceptions. You could let it mold improperly, or it could be infected with botulism or whatever else. But generally speaking, the overwhelming majority of the time, you're worried about E. coli. And essentially, you're worried about E. coli having spilled from the guts. And so basically, the slaughtering procedure was improper, whereby some portion of the guts or the gut interior, like poop, basically, was exposed to the meat, and then that meat was not in any way treated or cleaned or washed or anything else, and then basically cut into. And so then you could potentially have E. coli exposure. But if that didn't happen, if you had a competent butcher and everything else, then technically speaking, most beef is really safe to eat raw, unless it were to then again start to actually rot. So what was I going to say? If you grind beef from, let's say, a steak, like let's say if you go out and buy a tri-tip or something, or a sirloin or whatever else, and then grind it up in a machine, you can basically cook that burger to rare or even medium rare, no problem. It's perfectly safe because you have a very low incidence if you got the beef from a reputable source. As long as you didn't then contaminate it with some new poo-poo, you have a very low chance, honestly, of getting E. coli anywhere in that scenario, basically.
Last night,
same thing with tartare. What's that, Hardcore?
Last night, me and Bud talked a little bit about the genetically lab-grown meat. That's like biologically it's meat, but it's not from an animal.
Yeah, they're selling it apparently in Europe. I mean, technically they sell in the US, but it's not very available and it's very expensive. But apparently there's a company in Holland or somewhere that's selling it for like $12 a pound already or something. It's really not that much. I'm honestly curious how it's going to go. I don't know how I feel about it. I really don't know how I feel about it. Like normally I would be very much against it, but I don't really like the idea of cruelty to animals. I think animals are a lot more sentient and aware and everything else than we have ever given them credit for. And so, like, fuck, I wouldn't torture a dog. People are like, oh, what's the difference? Well, I mean, honestly, just like, frankly, I know dogs better. Like, I know that a dog would suffer tremendously if I wanted to eat it, even if I were to slaughter it or whatever. They're plenty smart enough to know that they're going to be slaughtered and everything else. They're almost smart enough, like a human, basically, in those circumstances. So that's just horrifying to me. So when I think about the fact that honestly, cows and a lot of other animals are not really any stupider than a dog, it really it doesn't make me feel great really about eating cows. Or pigs are assholes, but they're still in some cases lovable assholes. Chickens too, they're mostly assholes, but some of them are lovable as well. I'm being facetious, of course, but they most likely, even chickens, they're dumb as a fucking rock. But people I've known chickens that had personality. Plenty of people that I've met have known and had chicken friends, because sometimes chickens have personality. So even though they're stupid as a fucking rock, they still are smart enough to have some kind of sense of personality and seemingly awareness of the world. So I'm like, fuck, if I could continue to eat beef burgers and chicken things, but not from dead, formerly alive chickens, that would be a good thing. So I'm like,
Okay, what about your
I don't like
choice?
the idea of the artificiality of it, but what's that, Jeff?
What about, okay, you have the choice, lab grown beef or bugs? What would be your choice there?
Lab grown beef. I don't know why, but bugs disgust me. Which is bizarre because I like oysters. I like bugs at sea, basically, but I'm not really a big fan of chowing down on
Yeah,
grasshoppers, locusts, whatever else.
yeah,
Grubs,
I would try the beef.
wood
I would try the
louses.
beef before the bugs.
Um,
I would at least see how it tastes.
I mean, fuck. This is the thing. I used to think that I was a picky eater because I don't really like gristle. I don't like fat. I don't like a lot of different offal. I don't like tripe, for example. I don't like stomach or intestines, shit like that. Well, it turns out I'm not a very picky eater in comparison to most people at all. But there are a few things that I don't like. Like I said, intestinal bullshit, whatever. I do like liver and stuff like that, but I'm not a big fan of, lung
My favorite,
and shit like that. What's that, hardcore?
my favorite meal at the local Chinese restaurant was even number 17. It was mostly assholes.
I
I
mean, you
was
laugh. It's serious.
fine.
Some people, what is it? Friend of mine's favorite dish. I don't remember what it's called now, but it's thymus. It's basically sweet meat, I think is the name for it. I don't even remember. No, it's the thymus gland. Yeah, it's the thymus gland of a cow. I think people have
Oh,
thymus glands too. Yeah, I think it's in your throat, basically. I think it's the thing that gives you a goiter if you don't have enough iodine. I think I'm getting that right. But apparently it's very sweet. I don't remember if I've ever eaten it. That kind of, oh shit, I don't think I really want to be, I don't want to try that. I might try it, but yeah, a friend of mine, like that's his fucking deal. Every time he goes to the Chinese place, he orders the stir-fried thymus.
I had beef tongue before, and that was really good. I like.
Oh, I cannot
You
fucking
have your-
stand beef tongue. Oh my God, since I was a kid, my grandma loved beef tongue. My grandma and my mom loved beef tongue. And every special occasion we'd get together and oh, they had to have beef tongue. Fuck off. They had to have a few things that I liked, like herring in sour cream and herring in what else? Like wines and onion. Yeah, fuck off. Eastern European kind of foods. And those things I would dig on, but my fucking God, the tongue, oh my God, absolute
You ever heard
shit.
of you ever
Uh,
heard of Surströmming?
which, what's that?
You ever heard of Surströmming?
Oh, surströmming is fermented fish, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Swedish fermented fish. Even that, believe it or not, I have had that, and it's really not that bad. You have to eat it right though, because basically it's a very, very, very pungent thing. You have to literally open the thing like underwater or at least away from you, essentially, so that all the fucking horrible gases go away. Because it's basically a can of fermenting fish, essentially. It's not going to smell great. And then basically you literally drain it of all the horrible fucking liquids and you send those liquids off to hell, basically, because you don't want them anywhere near you. And then essentially you mix it with a bunch of stuff, mix it with onion and whatever else, and spread it on bread. And I'm pretty sure that's how I've had it, and it was honestly not super strongly flavored or anything. what was I gonna say? The one that I think is just, I think people are just fucking with you when they say that they like this, is fermented shark. It's basically like, it's not even
Yeah.
fermented, it's like rotted shark, hakerl, something like that. Hakerl. They make it in Iceland, I want to say, and they literally get a shark and they bury it in some sand for like a year, and it just fucking rots,
Oh
basically.
God.
And shark on a good day is not the best meat, honestly. If you've ever eaten shark, it's very distinctive. Like it's not exactly a meal that you don't hear most of the time, like, oh shit, I can't wait to go eat shark. It's very distinctive. It's basically like sharks, I think, don't have kidneys, I want to say. Like sharks are super ancient. Basically their whole lineage is older than dinosaurs and everything. It's crazy. And they haven't evolved much basically in that time. And I want to say that they don't have kidneys. Anyway, long story short, they have a bunch of uric acid and stuff. They have urine basically in their tissues because they're not, I think that's what it is. They're not expelling urine basically. And so if you don't properly bleed a shark, and almost no one ever properly bleeds a shark, you won't get rid of that fucking uric acid basically. And so the shark fillet will basically taste like a cat pissed on it. Essentially, like just imagine that if you've never had shark before, it tastes like swordfish fillet. If you've ever had swordfish or any other kind of like white, like a dense white fish. I guess some tunas maybe could be a little bit like this, like maybe albacore tuna maybe, but more like a swordfish, or what's the other one's kind of like a swordfish. Anyway, people probably fucking understand, but just imagine that a cat pissed on that swordfish steak. That's what shark tastes like. And so imagine like fermenting that for like a year underground.
The
That's
Sushi Labs
that.
is gonna work on that.
For
They're
I
gonna,
don't I
they're gonna
don't think
try
for any
lab
amount of
grown
money.
shark. Get rid of
What's
that.
that, Jeff?
The Sushi Lab's gonna work on that. Try and get rid of that and get some good lab grown shark that
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
have that.
Is that what you're talking about, Fumi?
What is that?
It's halibut and sour cream.
Oh, no, not at all. That's probably delicious. No, Hakerl.
My storage unit owner, he owns like hundreds of storage units. He did a double take. He goes, "You fit all that stuff came out of that fucking storage unit?"
When you impress a storage unit owner, you got some shit.
It's like Russian dolls that just fit inside the storage unit.
It's like a clown car.
Big
All
box
of a
inside
sudden,
a
like
box. Yeah.
15 boxes fall out of one box. It's all floor to ceiling. You got a ladder up to the top.
I saw his eyes light up. Next time I'm late, I think there's gonna be a lock on my door.
It's a, you're all like you don't even like have a ladder to the top because you have stuff climbed up to the top. You're basically doing the Tom Cruise rope thing from the ceiling.
My uncle, he's got a ladder in his storage unit.
What's that?
He built some My uncle, he built some shelves in his too. He's got like an upper deck of his.
Protect.
Oh, it's such a fucking
Mine's only
trap.
like
Like
$19.
I have all my shit in storage right now, and well, almost all of my shit, I guess. Oh my gosh, it's so annoying to pay for fucking storage every single month, and you start to wonder like, how much is your shit worth at some point? Like, oh my god, it's just it. And then some people, they pay for storage for years and years and years. I've known people that paid for storage for 15, 20 years. Fuck, that's a lot of money over time. Even if the place only cost $100 a month, still $1,200 a year. I can't imagine that it's as little as $100 anymore because everything is much more than that. But let's say you were grandfathered into a $100 a month storage unit. Fuck off. For 15 years, that's close to $20,000. Yep, that's a bit of stuff in there.
Back.
Here, let me spotlight you.
No, don't do that. And all this shit too.
Holy shit.
Got half a fucking ceramics gallery in there.
I got a lot of ceramics. Got a lot of these old steel wheels fucking take
Do you
up room
flip
too.
most of it, or are you just collecting a lot of it?
Well, I was just collecting a lot of it, but I kind of ran into some financial disabilities lately, so I've been selling.
Right on.
Nah, I don't want to, but I do.
So those wheels gonna become art someday?
No, these ones are just they go to the guy that needs a 1939 artillery wheel.
Okay.
6 lugs. It's like $150 wheel to some people. Even in the fucking shitty shape it's in. This one even has all the clips on
Best
it.
I can give you is stupidity.
The old wide fives. Yep, I got too close. Got too close to the building.
Yeah.
I should wander over here and see if my little
What happens? Well, gentlemen, perhaps we will say our good afternoons.
It's a good day.
In the chat right now. I'm just gonna say, we could do a giveaway, but we can't actually really do a giveaway. I don't have my computer running. I don't have my shit in front of me. So let's do 2 giveaways when I come back or something. Mansplainer says, I love tuna. Talk more about tuna. I'd love to hear about tuna. Sandwiches, tuna salad, just everything about tuna, buddy. I fucking love tuna. Midwest Outlaw says, I like herring, but not in cream sauce. I'm making boneless country style pork ribs and sauerkraut tomorrow. That took a hard left turn. Thought he was going to tell us about this amazing herring dish that his grandma makes. No, he's going to make amazing dish. It sounds wonderful. Country style pork ribs and sauerkraut tomorrow. Country style pork ribs. What is country style pork ribs? Country style pork ribs, I would assume, is still. No, I would not assume that it is grilled or smoked. I would assume that it's actually baked, maybe. What do you think? What do you guys think on the panel? I'm sure he's going to answer it. I hope you answer Midwest. I'm assuming now that it's baked, but that it's basted in a barbecue sauce and a marinade, probably. So basically, you could probably grill it if you wanted to, and then he's serving it with kind of German style, basically. Baked pork ribs, what is it, sauerbraten, I guess, and sauerkraut. I'm betting that that's what you're making, Midwest. It'd be hilarious if it's something totally different. He's like, well, no, actually, it's a fucking tacos. Anyway. Speaking of, who was talking about tongues a little bit ago? Lengua tacos are some of the most popular tacos, but I can't do it. I just can't fucking stand tongue. Oh, the flavor of it, the texture of it, can't stand it. I just can't fucking stand it.
carne lengua.
They sell
tongue.
at
Oh shit, you're cutting out a little bit hardcore.
They sell tongue at our grocery. Never mind. You're cutting out hardcore.
I'll see you
Softcore.
later.
It's gonna have to be hardcore. Try again, hardcore.
He's gone.
Oh,
Yeah,
what were you gonna say?
yeah, he said see you later.
I
Oh,
don't
okay.
even remember. Oh, now I do. We some stores here, grocery stores here, they sell tongue, beef tongue. It's pretty gross, like uncooked.
Oh, it definitely doesn't look all that wonderful.
No,
But
it's
then
gross.
again, when you think about it, meat doesn't look that great either. Honestly, it's dead flesh from an animal. It can never really look that great, honestly. But well, that's not true. Sometimes steaks look really beautiful, but I don't know why that is. But what was I gonna say? Man, I just can't stand. I can't stand tongue. I can't stand. Yeah, I think equally. I think I hate tripe more. I think I would eat tongue before I eat tripe, and I
Oh,
cannot fucking stand. What do you call? What do you call sheep intestines?
haggis,
Chitlins, or
haggis.
it's not sheep, but
Hello, you
Fuck,
guys
I
hear
can't
me?
think of the name. No,
Yeah.
haggis. haggis is not nearly as gross as people think it is. It's basically
Yes,
a
it is.
uh, barley and rice and lamb, kind of almost like a pilaf. I mean, it's like a stew, but it basically is firm because they essentially bake it basically or do they boil it? I can't remember. I think they boil it in a sheep stomach, I want to
They
say.
bake
So the whole thing is, yeah, they tie it off basically, and then it
Yeah.
expands. It basically makes a sausage out of sheep stomach, and the sheep
Yeah.
stomach basically the lining of the haggis.
Yep.
It sounds
It's gross.
super disgusting, but other than the sheep stomach, it's actually not that bad. Like barley, rice, and lamb, like that's kind of yummy. It sounds like. I would rather that they left the
Yeah.
sheep stomach out, but what can I tell you?
No,
Yeah.
I'm
Take it out
Scottish.
in the kitchen.
I don't
Serve
like
it to
that.
you like out of the stomach.
Right? Can you please hold the stomach?
Yeah, I've had that and blood pudding. I'm half quarter Scottish, half Scottish, whatever.
I like quarter Scottish. Okay,
If it's no
fucking
Scottish, it's crap.
Gungeline says, tongue is just
They
a
make
tenderloin that can lick you. Operation Annihilation is a big fan of lengua tacos. Uh, uh, I mean, they look wonderful. I remember that they have tongue on them, and I'm like, oh no, thank you, I'll pass. In Turkey, there's this. Oh, I can't think of the name of it right now, but of course, they have the doner kebabs and stuff. But actually, a far older tradition because doner kebabs are just from I want to say late '60s. People think it's traditional Turkish food. No, it's like literally from the late '60s. Same thing with al pastor. Literally, the guys that basically invented the spinning meat kebab thingy. They were like, we can take this overseas. And they went to Lebanon, they went to Mexico, they went to a few places. And my understanding is the guys from Lebanon essentially went to Mexico and immigrated and taught them how to make. They switched from lamb to pork because in Lebanon you're not going to eat with pork, right? It's verboten to eat fucking pork, but in Mexico it's kind of difficult to find lamb. So they would just basically make the pork slabs basically on top of each other. That's how you do it, pretty much. You slather pork with some fat basically in the middle, and then the whole thing essentially rotisseries basically, but vertically instead of a horizontal rotisserie like they had since fucking Greek times or whatever, probably longer than that. Some guy turning a fucking sheep on a stick pretty much a long time ago. They were like, oh, we could do this a little bit more efficiently with a motor, and then have it up and down. Literally, that basically comes from the '60s. Fuck was I going to say? But this other version is a horizontal spit, and it's essentially sheep intestine wrapping. Oh, my fucking ass! What is it? It's like three things I don't like: sheep stomach or lamb stomach. I want to say lamb fat, and then I think it's wrapped in sheep intestine and it's spiced intensely. And for some people, it's literally the best Turkish food, and you find them over the fucking place. You can smell it 3 blocks away. It's so goddamn pungent. Imagine the smell from a charbroiled Burger King, right? You can smell it like 3 blocks away. Well, this place you could probably smell from 5 blocks away. It's nutty. Well, wouldn't you know it? I cannot fucking stand that smell. Oh my fucking god. Anyway.
Well, I'm not hungry now. Thanks.
Seriously. Dude, for some people, though, it is literally the food from the gods because they love that shit. What can I tell you? I'm not a big fan of tripe. Some people have absolutely love tripe. They could eat plates and plates and plates of tripe. I had a friend years ago who could eat tripe until the end of time. Cake in a cup is right. Cake in a cup is right that the best sausage skins, really, because a lot of sausage skins now use artificial plastic or whatever else. I don't remember what they use now. But he said sheep intestines are sausage skins. I don't know why I keep struggling with that. You say it 5 times.
Sausage is good.
Well, anyway. Who else in here? Hashling and Hasher checked in. Good to see you, buddy. Midwest Outlaw. Good to see you, Midwest Outlaw. Who else came by? Jones and Two Bro. Good to see you, Jones. On Survivor on season something or other, the local delicacy was fish fermented in seawater in the sun, the gagging during the eating challenge. Oh my god, I had these neighbors years ago when I lived in an apartment. They were from Burma, and they dried fish. I don't remember where they got all the fish. They must have gotten it in a market because I don't think it was a fish that we had locally. It was like a bunch of tilapias, maybe. I don't know. Maybe they went
Nice.
to the river and found them because some of our neighbors were like Vietnamese or whatever. They would literally go to the Willamette River and catch up like fuck were they the suckermouth fishes. Oh, I can't think of the fish right now. Anyway, you can get them basically with almost no limit or essentially no limit, and they would get a bunch of those and fillet them and smoke them and do all kinds of stuff or dry them and whatever. But these Burmese guys, oh my absolute god, they dried them in the sun, and they basically the fish fillets like fermented because they were kind of like slathered in some kind of a sauce or whatever, so they wouldn't completely dry out. So they basically fermented in the sun for 2 or 3 days. Fuck, it was so awful. Oh my god. Anyway, nicest people, but oh my goodness, that
Dude.
they kept doing it too. It was like over and over again. Oh my. Anyway, hardcore says I nearly gagged watching Carl Pilkington watch a Chinese guy eat a baby bird fetus from an egg. That's the balut. I want to say that's the that's actually that's I want to say that's Filipino. Maybe they have that in China too, but I think it's Filipino where they have the fertilized egg that is then boiled.
Oh.
Yeah, like almost at hatching or something. I can't remember exactly how they do it. But anyway, it's basically like a baby chicken essentially that you eat, and they like it because it's the bones are like jello, like they're not that crunchy that you can bite through it. Oh my fucking god! Yeah, that's
come on.
That's a little rough. Yeah, that's a little hardcore right there for us. We Westerners are not used to that.
I wanted to get the Eskimo people. They used to make seagull wine. They used to take a
What did you say?
seagull.
Seagull wine.
Yeah, they used to take a seagull, stick it in a jar with water, and leave it in the sun for like 2 to 3 months.
I've never. That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Holy shit on a brick. Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I think that might be my least favorite diet or whatever. All the fat, the blubber and stuff that they eat, and I'm sure you had to because they say you burn all those calories in that weather. But oh fuck, that turns my stomach. Like I said, I don't like fat or gristle. Can you imagine just eating blubber all day? Oh,
Yeah.
fuck off. That's terrible. Anyway,
Blubber sandwich again. Oh man.
that's it. Can I have some blubber with my blubber, please? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna blubber our ways off here. We're gonna blubber away. Who else is hanging with us? Is it just you and me, D?
No, Jeff's here.
Oh no, Jeff's here. Cheers, Jeff. You want to say goodbye, Jeff?
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, bye everybody. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, thanks for having it, Tommy. See you next time. Bye, D.
Later, Jeff.
And everybody out there.
Good to see you. Go for it, D.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks always to everyone watching, the chatting and the chatters and the people lurking in the background. Thanks always to Fumador for putting this all together. Tune in Saturday, same bat time, same bat channel for the takeover on the Fumador and the Flavors channel. Yeah, I hope everyone has a great rest of the week. And cheers to Mrs. D if she happens to be watching with her mama. I don't know, but she's not here. Yeah, see everybody on Saturday. Later, everyone.
Good to see you, buddy. And that goes for the rest of you folks. Dr. Leave You Alone is hanging out. Good to see us. He says, so I can plant weed. Weed? What was the first part of it? We get the plant. Yeah, I started the weed. Well, anyway, good to see you, Dr. Leave You Alone. Ganja Lions in the house. Grant Widener, good to see you as well. Who else in here? Cake was hanging with us. Hashling and Hasher, of course. Another D looks like. She says, happy Wednesday. Who else in here? Or maybe that's Mrs. D, perhaps. I don't know. I'm not sure who that is. But welcome just the same. Mansplainer, Couch Flyer. Good to see you, Couch Flyer. Excuse me. Who else in here? Patricia Walker. Good to see you, Patricia. Long time no see. Welcome, folks. If I have not shouted you out, and course, if I see your name in the next few seconds, I'll try to shout you out. But if I have not shouted you out, consider yourselves hopefully shouted out. And I'll hopefully shout you out next time because, of course, you're all honestly big parts of the show. What was I going to say? What was that news? Somehow I'm very distracted by that. What was it? It was something to do with, oh, I didn't give a shit. Anyway, ladies and gerbils, thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to visit my website, fumidoro.com. You can type fumesofgold.com. I believe you can also type chronictable.com and it'll redirect, I believe, to the same place. I know you can type fumidoroseedco.com. I don't know why you would, but you could. If you wanted to, and it'll redirect to the same place. I would wholeheartedly recommend you go buy some t-shirts. We have a few Morgana and Lime River Rose t-shirts, of course. Dee, of course, famously wears his shirt quite often. Nice looking shirt, if I do say so myself. And of course I am.
Yes, it is.
Gaffer tape is on there as well. People, Mr. Scott was talking about gaffer tape. And speaking of seed lines, I would very much recommend gaffer tape, ladies and gentlemen. It has that really delightful, powerful GG4. It's something that people assumed maybe wouldn't stick around, but it's a classic of the weed community. It keeps coming back and gets rebred with. Speaking of Humboldt Seed Org, one of the first things they ever gave me to grow, and honestly to this day, one of my favorite things that I grew, a couple different GG4 crosses. One of them with the best name ever, Flytrap. Where could you find a better name for that? Honestly, gets you stuck. Anyway, delightful. That was Flytrap. Actually, that was Flytrap by the Amherst Sour Diesel. Speaking of that, anyway, what was I saying? The gaffer tape for me, ladies and gentlemen, is GG4 cross to Coot Special. So you have that spectacular GG4 with, I think, a spectacular, very unbridled sativa in the Thai Kerala cross, basically from that Coot Special. Pungent flavors, really an ethereal high, quite a few of them that I've grown myself, and I've heard similar results from people like Mr. Scotto and others. Very, very strong highs, but also very, gosh, in your head, really like great listening to music, weed, great just like enjoying the day, having a nice meal with friends, fuck, you're ringing high, that kind of thing. Really, really heady, not paranoia inducing, thankfully, weed. So anyway, so far so good. I've really enjoyed what I've grown, and I've really enjoyed the comments that I've gotten from people who have grown others. So gaffer tape, ladies and gentlemen, I would highly recommend. What else? Oblivion is another one that folks have grown. Oblivion is probably the most, let's call it, sativa leaning. So if you're very much not a fan of sativas, I guess stay away from Oblivion and gravitate more to that gaffer tape. If you want something that is not more of a 70-day cross and you want something that's a 60-day cross, remember it's really just another week and a half for that 70 days. It's really not a big deal. But if you want the 60 days because you need to grow it and get it done or whatever else, that's understandable. Try Sour Morgana, ladies and gentlemen. You get that done in 59, 60 days, no problem. Try Morgana V2. You might get that done even in 57, 58 days. So, ladies and gentlemen, try one of those. I wholeheartedly recommend all of those. As always, I would be happy to give any others or give you some guidance or whatever else. Penny Pebbler Ripplers says, bazooka your bush. Being a bingo the narrative. And what else? Just saying hey to D. Cheers, folks. Good to see everybody. Ladies and germals, I guess that's it. Thanks very much for joining us. Oh, don't forget to use the coupon code BRAINS. It's a little bit of a loyalty discount code. Just in case people want to pronounce it or do speech to text or something, D, how do you pronounce that?
Brains.
That's the way. That's the way, just in case you use Apple Pay or something. I don't know. I don't know why you would use it that way. But anyway, when am I reducing prices? I've thought about it a bunch of different times because I know, for example, that Masonic has cut his prices to really lunatic low prices. It's a tough one because you don't want to devalue your work. You do want to be competitive. Certainly, you do want to basically move on the market, but you also don't want to devalue your work if you think your future work will be just as good or better. And that's the thing. I think my future work will be just as good or better. So it's made me really think long and hard, basically, about what my future marketing strategy, because I obviously have to change it completely. But I intend to continue breeding, so I obviously have to change that up because how do I put it? The quality of the breeding is not the bottleneck. I think it's the quality of my marketing to customers. So anyway, yeah, do I consider lowering prices? Perhaps, or do I consider offering more freebies? I've consistently offered publicly one freebie, but then basically given a couple more. But that's good for retaining customers, but not necessarily good for getting new customers who might be more compelled. Oh shit, I could get 50 seeds from this guy all at once, as opposed to 10 seeds, whereas actually they might get 40 or 50 seeds from me if they actually wait for the order. It's a tough one. It's a tough one, honestly. Anyway, as always, looking for suggestions from you folks. If you guys have any, I'd like to say comments, questions, or concerns. Of course, preferably positive criticism, because negative criticism is not that useful. But if you have any positive suggestions, I would be happy to hear them. I've struggled through a lot of these different things. Nobody can be, people forget, I think, that nobody can be excellent at everything. You can be excellent at a few things, perhaps in your life, or maybe one or two things, some people more, but you really can't be excellent at everything. And so when you basically are a seed breeder or something similar to a seed breeder, you end up having to wear a ton of different hats, accounting and fucking payroll and everything else, right? I don't have payroll really, but a lot of people do. A lot of seed breeders have people that work for them to do their gardens and stuff, speaking of Masonic and all these guys. So all of a sudden he has payroll he has to deal with, right? Or when he ran his shop and so forth. That's a lot of different stuff to deal with that is not involved in the actual nuts and bolts of. That's the irony of a lot of businesses. I think people forget, whether it's I don't know, being an artist or a photographer or a seed breeder or anything else, that actually probably the bulk of your time ends up being consumed with nothing to do with the thing that you're supposed to be doing, but rather literally just paperwork and fucking bullshit and stuff that honestly you have no expertise in. Let's not forget, it's first of all super time consuming, and second of all, probably not even that good at it. Anyway, so long story short, always welcome to take suggestions. Midwest Outlaw says Archive stopped doing internet sales in store only. I don't blame them. I wonder why. I wonder if it's for legal reasons or for another reason. Do you know, before we bounce here in Midwest, did they explain it was for legal reasons or something else? They probably didn't, but you never know. Kicking a cup is saying, man, I would love to buy some Morgana and stuff, but all I know is the mail from me doesn't make it to me down here. It's the most frustrating thing. It should. So we'll see. We've got a couple packages that I had frustratingly had them ready to go in the other room, but in the next couple of days, because I'm leaving in the next couple of days, hopefully I'm going to send them, and hopefully they'll get there. So it should be just fine. It's bizarre that we haven't gotten them through to Down Under in a little bit. Penny Pebbler Ripper says, "Oh, just a thought to get things going." Yeah, no, I get you. I got you. But like I said, always a struggle to figure out where you want to price yourself and sort of put yourself in the market. For example, if you want to wholesale your beans to seed banks and stuff, then generally speaking, there's sometimes different deals, but generally speaking, it's kind of 50-50. So if you send your seed pack into, I don't know, Seeds Here Now or whoever else, and they sell it for $100 or $120, I think a lot of them are now. The breeder gets basically $60 and the vendor gets $60. Again, there might be a little bit of a spread because of costs or shipping or whatever else, but generally it's kind of like a 50-50. So if you were to cut your prices to, let's say, $50, then the breeder gets $25 and the vendor gets $25. Well, does that mean that you move a lot more volume? Well, that would be spectacular. You'll probably make more money that way. Or do you not? In which case you don't, and then you end up basically deflating the value of your seeds. Always a fucking tough one. So if you guys have advice or well, basically that, if you have advice, feel free to send me at fumidor@chronic.table.com, and we'll discuss it and hopefully know more the next time we meet. So ladies and gerbs, see you guys on Saturday. Takeover time with D. I did confirm with you, right? D, you want to do a takeover?
Yes, sir. Saturday,
right.
same bat time, same bat channel.
Sweet, right on. Ladies and gerbils, good to see you. What's Cake saying? He thinks Dega is fair. I don't have any idea why, but I get the sense that Peter does not like me. And at this point, I don't have the time to check if he does or doesn't. But a couple times that I've said hello on his channel and stuff, there's been very strange responses. Fuck, I don't even know what happened there. So I'm just like, I don't know. I'm operating under the assumption that Peter doesn't like me. So that's where I am right now. So I've heard good things about him too from well, I guess that's probably private, but from another breeder that hangs out on this show. said has said positive things because he sells seeds, I think, on whatever Peter's website is. But anyway, I don't know. One of these days, maybe I'll try to clarify. It's really weird. I've said this before. I cannot understand why there's so much weird vibes and animosity in the whole weed community. I would assume that a lot of these channels would be talking to each other and collaborating with each other. I would assume. I mean, it doesn't even hurt to say names. Like, I would assume that the Cheap Home Grow guys would hang out more with the Michigan Bros Grows show guys, and what else? With Eagle and frankly with my channel. I would assume that we would kind of hang out and cross pollinate more, but it has never been that way. It has very much been individual fiefdoms, even though most of the audience overlaps. That's one of the most idiotic things to me, that the audience completely overlaps. You guys all watched Eagle. You guys all watched Toad. If not all of you, then 90% of you. You know what I mean? Like, probably, if there's 10 people, no, there's 31 people watching. So probably 3 of you are like, who's Toad? I don't know who that is. Other than that, probably the rest of you basically know exactly who I'm talking about because you watch his channel, you watch Michigan Bros Grows show, you watch Cheap Home Grow, you watch fucking who else? Probably 95% of you still watch Twisted Roots. Hey, Twisted, if you're in the audience, cool guy. Who else? Like I said, I've always known that Eagles audience overlaps basically to a man and woman. It's idiotic to me that there's this. If not even necessarily bad vibes, because I don't think there's bad vibes between the Eagle and my show. There's just kind of like no vibes. It's really bizarre to me. It's honestly bizarre because I think Eagle tries to be respectful. I think he tries not to, flop his show on top of my show, which I appreciate, honestly. But other than that, we never really cooperate. We don't cooperate on guests. We certainly don't cooperate on panels. They never invite anybody that's really a regular on my show. I guess I don't do that to them either, but I suppose I could blame myself. I suppose I could just say, hey, fuck it, Smiley, you want to come on? I don't know. Maybe that's all it takes. Maybe I should just start inviting some of those people on there. Perhaps that's what I'll do. I don't know when I get back, maybe, because I don't really have the setup now with my phone and shit. But I don't know. Maybe when I'll get back, I'll be like, hey, Eagle, tell Smiley he should come on my show or some shit. I don't even know. Oh, it's frustrating to me. I don't understand it because in every other community that I watch on YouTube, if I watch photography or freaking drones or shit on a stick, I don't even know what was something recent, kayaking, wood carving. I mean, you fucking name it. All these channels cooperate, collaborate, work with each other, have nice things to say about each other. They recommend each other. Speaking of audio, esoteric niche channels like ours are like, oh, but this is a niche community. That doesn't help either. I don't think you could find a more niche community than audio and field recording. In the entire world, there's probably a grand total of 100,000 people that do it in all of the continents of the world, even underground somewhere with gnomes, talking about microphones and field recorders and shit, right? There's this one channel I follow, Time Preservation Society, fantastic fucking channel. He constantly shouts out other channels. I've discovered the Microphone Assassin, a few other different channels from this guy. Anyway, we don't do that on the weed shows. Nobody shouts out other channels. Nobody shouts out other breeders. It's all just little individual fiefdoms that everybody keeps to themselves. They claw for their little, I don't know, king of the hill or something. It's fucking bizarre to me. But anyway, I'll get off my sandbox here. I wouldn't be surprised, Midwest. I seriously wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, cheers, folks. Good to see you. If Eagle watches this, tell him I said hey, or I guess if Eagle's watching it, nobody has to tell him. What was I going to say? God damn, that dude's a freaking marathon runner. Can you believe that shit? Anyway, ladies and gerbils, I've said goodbye already. I'll say goodbye again. Thanks for hanging. Did I say before? Be kind, be decent, be gentle, don't be fucking prick sticks or lunatics. I don't know if I did say it, so I'll say it again. Puff something wonderful, my friends. I hope you do. If you're not able to puff something wonderful, I hope you're able to treat yourself in another way. Of course, weed, I think, is supposed to expand and enhance your life. It's supposed to improve your life, basically, on a fundamental level. If you are not able to participate in weed, I think that you should not try to risk getting yourself thrown in a cage. That's really an unfortunate situation. So treat yourself in another way. I don't know, go grab yourself a nice meal, or I don't know, go out with someone you like and you grab a fine beverage or coffee or something. Go for a walk, something. Go take your dog for a walk if you have a puppy dog. Enjoy your life in some way, ladies and gentlemen. Sniff a flower or something if that's what it takes to improve your day. But if you can, I hope you're able to puff something wonderful. And until we meet again, my friends, thanks for hanging. Cheers, everyone in the chat. Penny, Cake, and Al, Telescope Uranus, always a wonderful name. Who else here? Midwest, Crime Work Rose, all of y'all. Thanks for hanging, my friends. Adios. Later, Gators. I should find where my freaking thingy is here. There we go. Oh, shit. Is anybody seeing? Oh, D. Don't forget to go to D's channel, ladies and gerbs. D_zombie_745. I think that's what it is.
DZombie_745.
There we go. I almost had it. DZombie_745. Cheers, D. Good to see you. And of course, thanks for helping, D. Adios, my
Always.
friends. Thanks for